Hey everyone, it's me Prism, and I'm here with another internal Lightmare Studio Rift Run tournament. This one is my match versus Ben, who is also a new hire. The both of us helped design the upcoming bonus set that you'll have the chance to play with soon. Now onto the actual match though. I know I planned my curve around playing Ghosts of the Ancestors on turn 1 and going face with it, but part of me was considering using Devil of Despair on turn 1 instead to start stacking it. I ultimately decided to go with Ghosts of Ancestors on 1 because that's pretty much what I designed the whole draft around. But unfortunately, Ben did end up having a Flame Dawn Commando, which gave him a free 1 for nothing. Things go from bad to worse because I wanted to play Drag Down on this Kali, but unfortunately I had a slight mechanical misplay and clearly mistargeted the Cornison. And I didn't press unlock and redo before I realized my error. Also, at the same time, Ben's turning on the heat fairly quickly with a super aggressive curve. I'm starting to try and develop a board to counterattack and fight for the board, but I'm clearly behind. Thankfully, Ben does relent for the turn, thinking I would develop my Devil of Despair into the defense zone and get some trades, so this does give me the opportunity to catch up a little bit and let me develop my Demon of Solitude without too much punishment. The rest of my turns are fairly self-explanatory. I want to play as much of my hand as I possibly can before I develop my G. This is where my earlier misplay on the drag down shows itself, since I would have felt happier bringing my Demon of Solitude to defense sooner, and he would have been able to trade against his Kali instead of otherwise being avoided. I developed the G because I think at this point, I know I just need to nuke my resources and develop a wide flying army by next turn, and I bring my Demon of Solitude to the defense since it's clear Ben's no longer going to go on the defense himself, and I need to catch up on this race that I'm clearly so far behind on. Unfortunately, Ben has priority and is able to remove my Devil of Despair before I can ditch another card to increase the strength of my Demon of Solitudes. But yeah, my Demons of Solitude trade with his non-flyers, but we're still very much behind on tempo. Here's where I make the second biggest misplay of the match. I forgot to spend all my resources before I blow them up with G, which I could have either developed an Unstable Demon or Balanced Warrior and Demon of Solitude. Still, I get a large flying army, and I just hope that the 6 flyers I developed will be enough to bring back the match in my favor. But even with these numerous angels I just developed, I'm not liking my odds as I still have a bunch of threats of Ben's that need to be answered. Since I have no resources, the rest of my turns are pretty easily decided and linear, as I'm trying to get rid of cards to improve the stats of my own Demon of Solitude, and try to catch up on this race that I'm very far behind on. Thankfully, Ben hits my angels on the offensive side with his damage spells, so my defensive angels are able to get a bunch of value trades before dying, keeping me in the game for longer. However, I don't really like the odds for me at this point. I may have survived this round, but I'm down to only 4 life, and Ben's going to develop more than me every single turn, so I'm just going through the motions where I ultimately lose the match. While the error I did with drag down not hitting Kali didn't really contribute to the game's defeat as much, I do think not spending my resources before obliterating them with G definitely was the more egregious misplay, and that helped contribute to the loss. Anyways, the next match of the internal Rift Run tournament will be posted tomorrow, and it'll be me versus Nick, and after that, we'll see a match between Ben and Dylan.